Hey guys, so I'm gonna be doing, sorry, I literally just had to clean my brushes because they dropped down behind my radiator. And as it dropped down behind my radiator, oh, by the way, I'm using my Morphe 15N palette to do my eyeshadow today. But yeah, as it dropped down behind my radiator, it picked up all of the dust and all of that nastiness behind there. I've already concealed my eyes. So I'm just setting my eyes with like the lightest shade, which is in this palette. But yeah, so I had to just quickly go and clean those brushes. So a couple of weeks ago, no, probably about a month and a half ago, I was asked by my, well, she's like the person who deals with like health and safety in the office. I work for a construction company, so she has to make sure that all of the health and safety regulations are abided by, make sure everything is up to code, blah blah blah. And in our office, we have to have a first aider. I think you're supposed to have a first aider regardless, not just our particular company. But anyway, but she's a first aider, of course, and she said, well, could you be a first aider as well? Which makes sense, because if she's away or not in office, you need to have somebody else who can perform first aid to people. So I said, okay, yeah, I'll do that, especially as well I have children, and any times that my kids have needed assistance, I've been able to assist them, no problem. But obviously there's going to be other things that I can't do and that I'm going to have to learn how to do. So I'm trying to use this whole palette rather than draw for another one, do you know what I'm saying? So I decided, yeah, I'm going to do this first aid course because I think it will not only show that I am a team player at work, and don't think that they don't notice these things. They notice when you say yes or no to things. So I try to say yes to as many things as I can so that they can see that, you know, I am a team player, which I think is important. But anyway, so they booked me in for this first aid course, and the course was so good. Oh my gosh. And I would say to anybody, listen, if you can get on a day course, get on one, seriously. They teach you, oh, mine was with the British Red Cross. They teach you, this purple doesn't want to move, like it don't want to move, how to do CPR. They teach you how to identify when somebody needs help, how to deal with somebody who has seizures or fits as they're called. Look, this is just not moving here. It's like it won't blend out, it won't move. No matter how much I try to move it, I'm gonna have to use a wet wipe on that because that's not cute at all. They teach you how to deal with people who are choking, how to identify who needs help over another person. So say for example, if you had like 5 people who were in need of help, you need to be able to identify who needs help over that person, or that person, like who's in need of it like right now and who can wait, that kind of situation. It's like that. They teach you how to wrap bandages, how to do the Heimlich maneuver, how to do, what else did he teach me? I need to get rid of this blob, BRB. Okay, that's somewhat better, but I'm gonna give my eye a chance to just dry off because it's kind of wet from the wet wipe, and then I can go in and fix everything because I've just used a wet wipe. But yeah, also showed us how to put people in the recovery position, how to keep someone's airway open. There was so much stuff. But when I went, at first I was nervous. Like I was scared, I was shook, and I was just kind of like buzzing because that's how I deal with like nervousness. Like because I got to move, I got to get rid of that energy, so I'm just kind of like bubbling, I'm buzzing, kind of like that, because I'm so nervous. I don't know, does anybody else get like that? I know some people who get nervous, they just kind of become quiet and they become, that they go into themselves. I'm the complete opposite. When I get nervous, I have to move that energy outward rather than close up into myself, kind of thing. Okay, that looks a little bit better, but god damn, get a little bit more of that perp. But yeah, he made it so fun. But the thing is, I feel like first aid is just so important, and being able to help people is so important, because I'm gonna tell you this is like the story time part, okay? So I remember this was another big reason why I decided that I really want to take this course as well, is because at the same office where I was, it's like there's 6 floors to this building where we're located. There's 6 floors, and when you come onto your floor, like let's say you're coming out of the lift or the elevator, this really just does not want to blend and move. It just doesn't want to go nowhere. Like, oh my god, move please, go somewhere, do something. So you come out the elevator, you go like through these double doors, and you've got like the most narrow corridor ever. Literally, you go through the door and you either turn and there's a door to an office, or you turn this way and there's like a couple of steps and then a door to an office. And it's literally like one body can fit in that area that you're in. You'd have to scooch down in order to allow somebody else to come in. Does that make sense? Like, you both can't just enter and occupy that space. You'd have to enter and move down in order to let somebody else in. It's that narrow and it's that small. Anyway, so the people who occupied the office opposite us, one of the guys came in, and he literally, like, I could hear them outside our door. Like, they were really loud people. They were so loud, it was ridiculous. They came through the door, I can hear them, and then I heard the loudest bang I've ever heard in my life. And literally the wall where the door was shook. It shook, I kid you not, it shook. And everyone stopped for a split second. We all looked at one another and we all got up and ran over to the door. And as I opened the door, because obviously I'm closest to the door because of where my desk is, ran over to the door, open it, and there's this guy flat out on the floor, coffee everywhere, and his 2 colleagues are trying to pull him up. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, you can't pull him up like that. You need to leave him, like, let him lay on the floor. Now clearly they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what was going on. They were as shocked as we were. But thankfully one of my colleagues was a first aider, not the same person that I was just talking about, but somebody else. She was a first aider, and she's like, no, we've got to put him in the recovery position. So she went ahead and she did that. She put him in the recovery position, and we were just kind of like, does this happen often? Has he ever told you about any kind of illness, or that, like, has he advised you that he passes out or any? And they were just like, no, they didn't know anything about it. Like, it was all brand new to them. It was brand new. Like, they had no idea what was going on. Kind of like, I don't know what's going on with this eyeshadow right now. I have absolutely no clue. I kid you not. Anywho, so he finally woke up, and he just seemed to be so dazed and so confused. He didn't know what was going on. He was just out of it, and we gave him some space. We had to like give him some air, whatnot. And another one of my colleagues was kind of like, now we're all like gathered by the door, because as I said, that little passageway is just so narrow. One of my other colleagues, he was kind of like, he noticed the coffee that was all over the floor, and he said, do you normally have like reactions to hot and cold weather? Well, hot and cold temperatures, more to the point. But obviously the guy was still really disoriented, so he wasn't able to really get an answer from him. But one of his colleagues came back afterward, like they opened up their office and they like escorted him in, made sure he was okay, blah blah blah. They didn't need to call an ambulance, but my colleague did say, like, listen, he's hit his head real hard to the point where we have all had to come out, so make sure that he doesn't like do all of this and eyes rolling in the back of the head, and you know, make sure he doesn't go to sleep, because you haven't, there's a chance that, you know, that could be fatal because he's just hit his head. Turns out that my other colleague was correct. He had an issue, or he had like some kind of condition where if his body temperature went from hot to cold or cold to hot, because it was really cold at this point, like the weather was really cold. If he had if his body temperature had changed from hot to cold or cold to hot, he tends to pass out. And I said to him, listen, these are the kind of things that you need to tell people, because your colleagues had no clue. And this wasn't to upset him or to shame him or anything of the sort. It was just for the sake of his own well-being, because if nobody knows that you have a condition and it props up at work or wherever you are and people don't know what to do, sometimes that can be a matter of life and death, you know what I mean? So it's just more of a case of him making sure that he's surrounded by people who know what's going on and don't end up in a situation that he was just in, like, again, because you don't want that to happen again. I'm just concealing my under my eyebrow. I'm not going to conceal this one as much as I'm concealing this one. I'm having to conceal this one because the makeup went a little bit too high and I'm really just not feeling this look at all. Like, thankfully I ain't got nowhere to go, but it's a little bit upsetting because I feel like Morphe is just so hyped, and this is the second time that I'm using this palette on camera. I'm just not 100% with the way that the shadow is performing. I recently saw somebody else do a tutorial using a Morphe palette and they had the same problem. It's like the shadow stuck in one area and no matter how much they blended it, it would not move. And I'm having that exact same situation. The thing is, because this is a purple, it just looks like a huge bruise. It just looks like a bruise. Kind of upsetting. But anyway, back to what I was saying. You just don't want to be in that position where something happens and no one knows what to do and everyone just kind of like gawking. But that was another reason why I felt like I need to go on this first aid course, because if that kind of thing happens again, like, they have since moved out, but that doesn't mean that there's not anybody in my office that might have something going on with them that they haven't told us. Because to keep it, like, to be 100% honest with you, yeah, obviously I've got to put myself in that person's shoes. Okay, I have a condition. Are people going to judge me? Are people going to make fun of me? Are people going to take me seriously? Are people going to think that I'm a freak? And all them, those kind of things that I can understand why people wouldn't say anything, because there's some people who just don't take it seriously at all. So I can understand why people may feel a bit funny about saying something, because there's just some people out there who are just not nice at all. I put my foundation on. It's my L'Oreal stick foundation, and it's sad to say because it's like I know people who are like that, who are just judgmental, who just don't take people seriously. And it's like, you know what, you kind of, until it becomes their own reality, or it's the kind of thing that then affects somebody that they know, until that point they don't care. Do you know what I'm saying? So I can understand why there's some people who might feel a way about telling people, but I think it's just worth telling the relevant person. Like, just tell the person who has done the first aid course, maybe. Like, if you are one of those people who has an underlying condition and you haven't told anybody at your workplace and you're afraid of saying something, it's like you don't have to disclose it to the whole entire workforce. But maybe if you just told the relevant person, like the first aid, like, listen, I have seizures or I have blackouts or something, just so that the person who has the ability to help you kind of already knows, is just made aware, because then at least they can say, I know what to do because I already know what's going on. So they expect something to potentially happen. You know, I didn't use a primer today. I didn't use a primer yesterday either. And I feel like my skin looks really decent without it. Like, I'm kind of having like a skin situation right now. I've been consuming a lot of sugar. Okay, I'm not even gonna front because I like my sweets and I like my candy. Now I'm gonna have to repurchase another one of these concealers, these Makeup Revolution, the Conceal and Define. I run through these so quick. Like, this is the third one. I've literally just done an empties video, but I was like, I've already gone through one and I've gone through a second one and I'm on my third one. Like, this isn't a joke. These concealers, I'm wondering if they fill them up, because I saw somebody else say that they've gone through theirs as well and they went through it really quick. So I'm wondering how full they are, or is it that we're just using so much on a daily? But I've never run through a concealer as fast as I've run through this one. Never. And I've had some concealers that I've loved, but for some reason I go through this one like I don't even know what. Okay, so I'm gonna go off camera and I'm going to do my eyeliner. I'm gonna come back and highlight and all of that good stuff and do my lips and all that good stuff. And I'll be back in a minute. Okie dokie. So I've done all the rest of my makeup and I've done my lip liner as well. So I'm gonna do my lips, and I tend not to wear lipstick without lip liner. It just looks so much better with lip liner. But yeah, I guess the point that I've been trying to make is like, look, I'm gonna use, I've got a lot of highlighter on, so I'm gonna use my blush brush and just go over it just to diffuse it a little bit. Yeah, the point that I'm trying to make is like, look, you never know when you might need to help someone. You never know like what's gonna happen at any given moment. So if you do have a condition, like let somebody know, because it could be a matter of life and death, like seriously. And you don't want everyone to just be like, what do we do? And seeing as I have kind of experienced it firsthand with that guy, and it was very like shocking, and nobody knew what was going on. Like no one, his colleagues didn't know, like nobody knew what was going on, like what the hell. And if that was more of a serious situation, God knows what could have happened to him. I'm gonna spray my face. I love the way that this spray smells, but I can't spray too much, otherwise it starts to kind of like melt the foundation. Anyway, you guys, so this is the finished look. Second time that I'm using that Morphe palette. I'm really not that sold on it. I don't feel like it's atrocious, but I don't feel like it's the best, and some of the shades just don't want to blend. I've managed to kind of salvage it by concealing underneath my brow. I think another reason why it looks the way it does is because it got that spot, that smudge that was there, and I had to clean it away, which meant that I had to go in with even more shadow, because it doesn't look as bad on this eye, but it looks worse on this eye. So that's something that I do have to take into consideration. As I said, thankfully I ain't gotta go nowhere, but I'm just not a huge fan at the moment. It's just kind of like wavering in the middle. Anyway, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay safe, you guys. Seriously, as I've told you, I've seen the effects of people not disclosing their conditions. Like, it's so important. And even if you just have kids at home, it's good to know what to do for your children's sake, you know what I'm saying? Or if you care for people who are differently abled. Like, anyway, put me on notification, share this video, and I'll see you in the next one.